What's old is new again. An old treatment, a decades-old treatment, has been revealed to be incredibly effective to this one poor woman who has been afflicted with the world's deadliest disease. A medical scan reveals the shocking effects decades-old treatment has on a woman with the world's deadliest disease. Let's take a look. An elderly woman's x-ray revealed a bizarre treatment she had received decades earlier for the world's deadliest disease. An 86-year-old from Florida, wow, visited her doctor complaining of a burning pain in her chest and upper stomach, and she had, but she had no trouble breathing or any other respiratory issues. Just, I got some really bad heartburn. That's what it feels like, but it also feels like I'm dying. While she was treated for acid reflux, there you go, a condition that causes stomach acid to heartburn, okay? The doctors also performed a chest x-ray, which showed a football-shaped cloudy mass in her upper left lobe of her chest. What? Okay. Woman told doctors that back in the 50s, when she was in her early 20s, she had fallen ill with tuberculosis, wow, a respiratory condition, dubbed the deadliest disease on the planet due to resistance to certain antibiotics and increased spread in developing countries that lacked modern antibiotics. And yeah, TB was a big problem back in the cut, but it has since been since rectified. It's kind of like, these are just the downstream effects of the polio case that I had back in the day. Though a rare threat in the US today, at the time the woman was treated, TB killed 20,000 Americans every year. Wow, and antibiotics for the condition were still new, leaving doctors reliant on experimental treatments. At the time, the woman had received an olethorax, a now obsolete procedure in which doctors would inject mineral oil. This is some old ass shit right here. And hey, if you have any discomfort in your lungs, make sure that you struck up an old Lucky, and it'll go ahead and it'll ease a lot of that discomfort. 9 out of 10 doctors recommend Lucky Strike. Oil, yes, into the area around the lungs, called the pleural space, to collapse a lung lobe. You're trying to induce a lung collapse, huh? That's interesting. Doctors typically use paraffin oil, which has been derived from petroleum, or vegetable oil, to derive a Mycobacterium tuberculosis. There you go, words. The bacteria that causes TB, of oxygen and keep dormant TB from reactivating. As modern antibiotics like isoniazid, sure, and ethaminamide, whatever, man, entered the market in the 1950s to treat TB, olethorax slowly fell out of favor due to the safety risks like infection, respiratory distress, and pneumonia. Yeah, by introducing liquid into the lungs, you're kind of inviting pneumonia right in. Okay, in a video posted to X this week, reacting to the resurfaced case report, which was originally published in 2017, Dr. Sam Golly, an emergency medicine physician at the University of Florida Health in Jacksonville, who was not involved in the case, said this is absolutely wild chest x-ray that you just don't see every day. When you think about this in 2025, it sounds absolutely crazy, but you have to imagine back then that they didn't have anything else. Today, TB infects a few thousand Americans every year and kills about 500, far fewer than cancer, heart disease, and dementia. The threat is much more prevalent in developing countries, however, as TB still kills 1.2 million people worldwide each year. TB in the U.S. was on a steady decline from 93 until 2020, when the overall number of cases hit an all-time low to 7,170, but in 2021, the number jumped to 7,866. I wonder if that has anything to do from people, just coming across the border from developing countries. But this is very interesting, man, because, tuberculosis, that's still a very serious disease, but it has since been mitigated. Obviously, we took a look at the numbers right there. But yeah, if you end up finding yourself in a situation with some wild symptoms, it could end up being something as weird as that. And of course, if you had doctors working on you with, hammer and a stone knife back in the day, make sure you get somebody with some up-to-date medical information, because perhaps you could have a disease from the ancient world attempting to mess you up here in the year of our Lord 2026. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.